Well, hello, brethren, and thanks for tuning in. Today, I want to bring you something that is something I've done a lot of studying on, and something that if you do the studying yourself, there won't be an argument, but it has caused many people to be out of season and on the wrong time and day. And these teachings are coming from people who some are meaning well and some are not. But you're going to have to test every Ruach, test the teachings, test it against Scripture. And of course, I am talking about the crescent sighting of the new moon, the Rosh Hadesh. So today I want to address that, talk about some of those things, and just give you a little breakdown on scripturally what is a moon. So I want to share this with you. And again, if you believe what you believe, I'm just inviting you to take another look, because the evidence against it is non-existent. And in order to make any evidence, many people had to go outside of Torah, and unfortunately, they did not use historical references or any known references, since we know that there have always been people in the land and they've never left. The Shomerites and many people in the surrounding areas have never left there and have never stopped keeping this. So this is not hidden. And we have historical evidence dating far back beyond even Babylonian captivity. So let's take a look today together with what it says in Scripture. Okay, let's start here. What is a scriptural new moon? And when is a scriptural new moon? Is the unseen invisible moon, or is it the first faint visible light, the crescent? Can it be calculated mathematically in advance as the modern day Jewish or Yehudi calendar does? First, let's establish what the moon is through Scripture. Torah. And no scriptural gymnastics is needed. So in Bereshit, or Genesis 1:14 through 18, we get all anyone should need to quell this silly dispute. Remember, words have meaning, and Hebrew words have a lot to say. One word can say many things in the same sentence. You'll find multiple definitions for them, and guess what? They often fill a fuller, completer picture. It isn't pick one that fits you best. It is do a word study and find out which ones fit in their totality, because oftentimes all of their meanings fit and paint a fuller picture. And I always invite you to don't take my word for it. Don't follow me. Okay, follow Torah. Not that I'm a poor substitute for Yohanan, the one they called renamed John, a voice crying out in the wilderness. I most certainly would love for you to like and subscribe, but I want you mostly to go back in and study Scripture for yourself. Pray to the Father, pray through the Son, and ask for Him to lead you and guide you in all things. All right, so let's take a look. We have Bereshit, or Genesis 1:14, and Elohim said, "Let lights be in the firmament of the heavens to separate or distinguish the day or the light from the night or the darkness, and let them be for signs." We'll start with signs. That is H226, and it is an uth. Now that is a signal, literally or figuratively, a beacon as a flag or something that is seen, a monument, omen, or evidence. And it comes from the root of the same spelling. And this is often, and you'll find that multiple words have the same spelling, different pronunciation, and just more to the picture. And that is uth, still spelled with an aleph, ua, ta. So that comes from H225, and it properly means to come in the sense of appearing, a mark, a miracle, a beacon, a token for appointed times. Okay, so both have beacon as a definition. And beacon, as it is defined by the Cambridge Dictionary, is a light or a fire that's set up in a high or prominent position as a warning signal or celebration, a light or other visible object serving as a signal. Okay, and appointed times. So it says it's signs and appointed times. Now, this is H4150, and it is spelled moed, but it is pronounced moed. Properly, it is an appointment, i.e. a fixed time and or season, a festival, a year, an assembly. By extension, the place of meeting, a signal, an appointed sign or appointed time, a place of solemn assembly or a congregation, a set congregation or a solemn feast, an appointment in due and proper season, set time or set appointment. And that comes from Ya'ad, which is H3259, and it means to fix upon, to look to and or for, to meet, assemble, or gather at a stated time of court. Remember, we're before a righteous judge. To summon or to direct. Of marriage, it means to engage and betroth. So this is us practicing for the wedding ceremony, is an engagement, a betrothal. Our coming is rudimentary in the fact that if we're going to be in the wedding, we've got to fill our lamps full. It is also for times and years, and let them be for. Now this means their purpose, lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night and the stars. Now, light in Hebrew is or, and lights is meor, which just is a plural. So, or, H215, to be luminous, bright, brilliant, a chandelier, shining bright, kindling, to be light or enlighten, give light, show light, lighten or lightened, set on fire, shine. Now, light, as the Cambridge Dictionary defines light as, it is brightness, the brightness that comes from the sun, moon, or fire, etc., and from electrical devices that allows things to be seen. And Elohim set them in the firmament of the Shamin, or the heavens, to give light on the earth and to rule over the day and over the night and to separate the light from darkness. And Elohim saw that it was Tob. Now, I'm not going to get too into this. So for many pagans practicing witches and moon followers, the dark moon happens when the moon is dark and in conjunction with the earth and the sun, the astronomer's new moon. The true new moon follows after the dark moon phase, when the moon begins to show the tiniest illumination of its waxing or growing phase. And even the dictionaries tell you this, the oldest one to the newest one. Much of the speculation about the spiritual impacts of the legendary dark moon, or no moon, because there is no moon, there's no such thing as a dark moon, there's no black spot in the sky, there's just no moon. And it can be linked to the dark moon goddess, her word, Lilith. Lilith's origins, 15th century, can be traced to a number of sources. Some paint her as a feminine, fertile goddess, similar to the Roman Venus, and some claim she was a demon. The more you look into her, really kind of a demonic nature. In astrology, she has come to represent primal, impersonal, creative source which seeks manifestation beyond the material or emotional. According to dark astrology, symbolic, the dark moon and Lilith represent the lunar apogee. They together does not exist as a physical point in space, but is a point that describes the distance between the earth and the moon, the empty focus. In other words, you can't see anything. The dark, rebellious being is inextricably tied to the occurrence of the dark moon. The moon is a type and shadow, as in all of creation, and it's of the Father and the Son's handiwork. The Son, the greater light, the Father is greater than I, and that's Yohanan or John 14:28. And the moon, one of the two great lights, the lesser light, Yohanan 8:12, therefore Yahushua spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world, and he who follows me shall by no means walk in darkness, but possess the light of life. Messiah came into the world to lead those in darkness, and he led them back to the greater light, his Father. So does the moon. It rules or governs the darkness, shining or illuminating that which is dark, and leading those in darkness into the daylight or the sun. The greater light, it's a great shadow picture of the Father's plan for us who are lost in the darkness. Then the light of the world, like faith, came into the world. And as we stayed in it, it grew day by day, always leading us back to the Father. That was the whole purpose of the Son, was to get us back to the Father, to show that mercy and kindness upon us, so that we would in turn back to him in his ways, so that we could be back in favor before him. And as scripture says, one day there will be no need for the shadow picture of light, sun or moon, the two great lights, as the abundance and magnificence of Abiyah and his lamp, the Lamb of the world, Yahushua, will fill all the world and all who are in it. And we see that in his own Revelation 21:23. And this city had no need of sun nor of the moon to shine in it, for the esteem of Elohim lightened it, and the Lamb, it is its lamp. Look, we must come together, brethren, as one body. But there aren't many understandings, just Yah's. He appoints the time and seasons, his feasts, his very Kadesh appointments. Let us not come at the wrong time, because we followed those who elevated themselves to be teachers, as we were told by Messiah that the Ruach would teach us. And his half-brother, Jacob, when they renamed after James, King James, at 3:1, not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, knowing that we shall receive a greater judgment. You can't observe a no moon, what they call a dark moon or invisible moon. If something's invisible, you can't see it. As the Torah instructs, we need witnesses. So in Deuteronomy 19:15, one witness does not rise up against a man concerning any crookedness or any sin that he commits. At the mouth of two witnesses, or at the mouth of three, a matter is established. In Abri or Hebrews 10:28, anyone who has disregarded the Torah of Moshe dies without compassion on the witness of two or three witnesses. In Matthew 18:16, but if he does not listen to you, take one or two more with you, so that by the mouth of two or three witnesses every fact may be confirmed. Rather, not even one person can visibly observe something that isn't there. No light equals no moon. The moon is a light, as Torah says. We just saw that. The moon is a light. Please, brethren, let's be of one mind, sound, and of Messiah. We must not add or take away from the word. No invisible moon or calculated calendars meet the Torah's instructions. Let's all be on time and in season to our loving Father's appointments. Let's love him enough to obey all he has given, and love each other enough to build each other up, strengthened in the Torah and instructions of Elohim. Well, brethren, that's really all I want to bring forward right now. Like I said, I have so much to bring forward. I have probably 30, 40 pages to absolutely obliterate all these teachings out there, but I'm not interested in showing somebody to be a false teacher, because I think we often get too caught up in the deception, and then we're so tied to it that we're not willing to come off of it, whether it be pride or maybe we just talked ourselves into it. Let's let Torah define itself. Torah defines what a light is: the moon, the sun, the stars. There's three witnesses. We saw that in scripture, that the moon and the sun and the stars are witnesses. They are lights upon the earth. When there is no light of the moon, it is not a light. As the sun came into the world to bring light in the darkness and lead us back to the Father, this is what we can look at. I don't want arguments between us. I don't want us looking for the wrong thing at the wrong time. You can't go out and look and witness a new moon if it's not there. So this shouldn't be an argument. This shouldn't even be a teaching. It's not a teaching of any of the people over there. All going back as far as there is history about this, they mention the people who followed the crescent moon. And it predates Babylonia, so don't say it started there. It way predates 639 when the Mohammedans started to become a thing. Way predates it. And just because somebody else grabbed a hold of something that they saw somebody doing, you got to remember, they're Ishmaelites, they're brethren. Whether you like it or not, they are brethren, maybe half brothers, but they're brethren. So because or little brother, doesn't mean that it's wrong. Satan quoted scripture to the Messiah. So are we to no longer trust scripture because Satan knew it? We need to come together. We need to start worshiping Yah, putting him first. We need to stop following men. Trust no man. No man. You can get something from their teachings to help guide you and lead you to scriptures that are important to you. Do that. Go into the scriptures, study out the Hebrew, study out the words, study out the letters, get the deeper meaning. Try to get a hold of somebody who maybe was born to this and understands it, or is a scholar and been studying this for lengthy periods of time. But all in all, stay in prayer. And let's come together of one mind, the mind of Messiah. Let this mind be in all of us. I pray that you receive this in love the way it was meant, and I pray that you'll look into these things for yourself. And don't choose to argue with anyone. If you have a belief and you're firmly rooted in it, I would recommend you make sure. Brethren, we love you, and we want you to seek all matters out, to search a matter out. We want you to study to show yourself approved and work out your own deliverance through fear and trembling before the Almighty Yah. But seek first his wisdom, his understanding. In all your ways, receive him and his teaching through the Ruach HaKodesh. Well, thank you guys. We love you, and we will see you next time.